Hello, everyone. Rabbi Schoenberg here of the Jewish Center. It's Friday, right before Sukkot. I'm sitting in my sukkah that's not completely finished, but in the process of being built. It's cold and it's actually raining as I'm sitting here. And I wanted just to talk a little bit about the sukkah and a little bit about the sukkah during COVID. So the sukkah is our temporary dwelling, and it really emphasizes the fact that we have a permanent home and a solid home, but there's also such a thing as an impermanent home, and that there's a difference. And it really represents to us the fact that there is such a thing as insecurity when it comes to housing and being at home, and what a great gift it is to have a home. So I want to also show you a little bit of my sukkah. As you can see, the green is one wall, and in back of me is my backyard, and there's no wall because, among other things, in order to make the sukkah safe during COVID, we didn't put up all four walls. So to make a sukkah kosher, you need 2.5 walls, and that's what I have. So otherwise, it would be a confined indoor space. So this made it a real outdoor space. Sukkah's a little bit over 8 feet, so hopefully I can have some guests. And you do recall the story I told over Rosh Hashanah, which I said that the kind of way we look at Sukkot this year is, am I not inviting you to my sukkah, or are you not inviting me to your sukkah? But actually, I'd like to invite you all into my sukkah, and to understand that at this special time of the year, we would like to think about our issues around homeless and home for people who don't necessarily have a permanent home. And that's an important notion. So let me just share with you one story. This is about a grandmotherly woman who living in the Bronx on a second floor house that had a balcony. And she was in her 70s, and the story that I read in the newspaper was told by her grandson, that Bubby, as she was called, woke up one day and saw that there was a kind of disheveled person sleeping on her balcony, and he was gone. So she went out later that day and put some food out there in a little sandwich and something else, and a spare pillow and blanket for him. He came back the next night, and the next morning he left a little change with some money for her. And again, she did the same thing. The next day she put out some food and cleaned the blanket and the pillow and make sure that it was okay for him. This was not something that she was used to. No one had ever slept on her balcony before, on her little kind of emergency balcony that was out there. And this went on for weeks and weeks. And then one day, he was gone. She was worried what happened to him. But nothing happened. Then a couple of weeks later, the same gentleman came back. This time he was well dressed, looked very good, and he brought her a bouquet of flowers. And he told her the following story. He said, my business went bankrupt. One of my employees cheated, and things just went upside down. And so I lost my business. I sent my family and my children to my in-laws, and I went to work at another job in order to pay back my creditors and my debts. And now that I'm finished and things are looking better, I came back to say, thank you, Bubby. Thank you for taking care of me. So on this Sukkot, when we're supposed to be able to sit in the sukkah, even though right now it's cold and raining in my sukkah, and most of us this year are not going to be able to put up Sukkot because of COVID, and it's just not going to be the same thing where we're going to be visiting others. But I just wanted to point out that there's another mitzvah that we can do in addition to that. So as we think about sitting in the sukkah, what we should actually do is make a donation, give tzedakah to something that's concerned about the homeless or about housing insecurity. As we sit in our insecure sukkah, we should think about insecurity housing for others. Shabbat Shalom, and have a good holiday.